What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today we are going to be going through yet another tier list. Today we are going to be going and doing the final girls. I've done horror villains, I've done horror masks, I've done which horror villains could I survive. So I've talked about the villains a lot, but let's talk about some of the heroes. And the final girl is one of the biggest horror movie tropes, so let's go through and talk about the best and the worst final girls. I found 40 of what I think are the most popular final girls. And if not, they were just ones that I felt like would be fun to talk about. So I got 40 to go through. Let's get into it right now. Okay, so here we are at the tier list. At the top, we have personal favorites, then badass, then survived, then meh, and then should have died at the bottom. I'm actually going to mix this up a little bit because I just see a bunch of heavy hitters right at the beginning, which means that this thing did a terrible job at mixing it up. There we go. All right, starting off with the first final girl, we have Nancy Thompson from A Nightmare on Elm Street 1 and A Nightmare on Elm Street 2. She's going up to personal favorites for me. She is one of the undoubted best final girls in horror movie history. Like, any list without Nancy on the top 10, it's basically wrong. Like, she is one of the most badass characters in horror. She is so good at just taking matters into her own hands and just really handing it to Freddy in both times that she appears in this franchise. So she is one of the best final girls of all time, no doubt in the top tier. Then we have Ginny Field from Friday the 13th Part 2. And Ginny, for me, is going to go up into personal favorites as well. Now, if she's not in your top 10, then you can still have a valid list. I can see why she wouldn't be in your top 10, especially if you're not a Friday the 13th fan. But I personally am a huge Friday the 13th fan, and she is my favorite of the franchise. I think she is the biggest badass out of any of the final girls. The way that she's able to fight back both psychologically and physically against Jason with the chainsaw, and she's also able to pretend to be his mom and kind of convince him to stop killing. So I really like Ginny, and I think she is a top tier final girl. Then we have Kirsty Cotton from Hellraiser, and I'm gonna put Kirsty Cotton in badass. Hellraiser has never been one of my favorite horror movies of all time, but she has always been one of the best parts of these movies for me. At least I think she's in the first two, and then I think she's in like 9 or 10, whatever, one of the crappy ones. Then we have Laurie from Freddy vs. Jason, and now I've been seeing that a lot of people really hate Laurie. She was in my top 10 final girls list back in like 2 years ago. That I wouldn't have her in there anymore, but that's just because Freddy vs. Jason is the first horror movie that ever really made me a horror fan, so I really hold that movie close to my heart. And I do like her character. I don't mind her, but I'm just going to put her in the middle in Survived because she really doesn't have that much personality. They try to give her a backstory, but this is Freddy vs. Jason. We don't really care about the characters' backstories. We just kind of want to see Freddy and Jason messing each other up, and that's what we get, so. Then we have Sally Hardesty, and she was also on my top 10 final girls list. And I don't think I've ever had this big of a turnaround on a character because Sally is... I'm going to put her in meh. As far as final girls go, she is not really a very good final girl. She's just kind of coincidentally the last one alive. I guess she's smart enough to not do the things that get the other characters killed, but still, she just kind of is coincidentally the last one living. She doesn't really do anything to fight back against Leatherface or the cook or the hitchhiker. She just kind of survives. She runs, and so I guess props for surviving, but not a great final girl. Then we have Jess Bradford, and she was also in my top 10, I believe, and I still think she is one of the best final girls ever. But would I put her in the top? You know what? This one's tough. She's very good. She's a very good final girl as far as just character and being a very big badass. So yeah, you know what? I'm gonna stick her in the top. I'm gonna stick her in personal favorites. Then we have Ripley, and as much as I love Aliens, I have never been that attached to Ripley. Alien is not a franchise that I have that's beloved to me. I like Aliens, I love Aliens, and I like the original Alien, but I just have never held this franchise super close to me. And I hate Ripley in part 4, which I know it's kind of like, it's not technically Ripley, but it's still pretty much Ripley. And she is a great character, but if we're going off of just my personal preferences, I'm not going to put her in the top tier, and I'm just going to stick her in badass. I just don't have a connection with this character because I don't love the franchise as much as a lot of people do. I love Aliens, and she's a huge badass, but just as far as characters go, not one of my personal favorites. Then we have Erin from Your Next, and this one is she is my personal favorite final girl ever. So yeah, she's gonna go up to the top. She is the biggest badass I think I've ever seen in a horror movie. Besides maybe Ripley, I mean, they're both badass. I mean, she makes such light work of everybody in this house. Like, every character in this movie, except for her, dies. And the way that she just mops the floor with Lamb Face, Wolf Face, and Tiger Mask, just not even a issue. And she's just such a badass while she's doing it. So I really, really like Erin. And when I watched this movie, there was no doubt she's my favorite final girl. Then we have Tree Gelbman from the Happy Death Day duology. And she was also in my top 10, and I think she still would be just because of her character arc and how when I watched this movie, I didn't expect this character arc to work for me because I usually, when there's characters who are huge a-holes, I don't really like when they try to redeem them, but I think the redemption worked very well here, especially with the backstory that we get from her. So I'm gonna put her. Oh, she's not really a badass. Yeah, I'm gonna put her in badass. She's not top tier for me, but she's the next closest down. I mean, she is a great final girl. She has a great character arc. I really love Tree. Then we have Millie Kessler from Freaky, who is actually, for the most part, not played by Kathryn Newton, but I have the picture of Kathryn Newton. She is very good, but I love Kathryn Newton, so I'm trying not to be super biased here. I'm going to put her in Survived, because she's not a very interesting character. I do love the scene where she gets to interact with her mom through Vince Vaughn's body. I really like that scene, but otherwise, I mean, I can't just put her to the top because she's Kathryn Newton. Next up, we have Gale Weathers, who is one of the only characters. I don't remember if Sydney's in the sixth one or not, but she's the only character to have a major role in all 6 Scream movies. And I'm gonna put her. She's definitely my least favorite of the 3, like the big 3 from the Scream series. I like Dewey and Sydney more than her, but yeah, I'll go Survived. Because there's some points in the series, even after part 1, where you don't like the character. In part 2, she's still kind of learning to not be an a-hole. And Scream 4, she's kind of unlikable in some points. In Scream 6, she's unlikable again. Her character fluctuates so much for me that I'm just going to stick her in the middle. Then we have Laurie Strode, and Laurie is the final girl. When you think of final girls, you think of Laurie Strode. And just as far as a character for me, kind of like Ripley, I respect this character more than I like her, especially because they've redone this character like 4 times now. She's just not super interesting to me, and I think that the story should have kind of centered around Loomis and Michael rather than Laurie. But I think she's a great final girl, and I'm going to put her in badass, but I've never really loved Laurie. Then we have Grace from Ready or Not. And don't worry, we'll get some more in the bottom. I just, for some reason, all of the good ones are at the start. But she is a great final girl. I'm going to stick her in badass. As far as character, she doesn't have a lot of character or like character development, character arc. She just kind of is a badass and she is willing to do whatever she needs to survive. So she's a great final girl, but I can't put her on the top. Then we have Mia from the Evil Dead remake. And if you remember my Evil Dead ranking, you'll know I prefer Mia to Ash. With that being said, I wouldn't say she's in that top tier of final girls for me. Still a badass, but not quite in the top. She's close. She might even be in my top 10 final girls, but not in the top tier. Then we have Sienna Shaw, and if you saw my Terrifier ranking, you'll know that I don't love the Terrifier movies. But I also said that one thing that I do love about the Terrifier movies is Sienna Shaw. She is genuinely the best parts of those movies, so no doubt she goes in the top tier. She is literally the reason that I enjoy Terrifier 3 as much as I do. She makes some parts of Terrifier 2 bearable, and that's probably one of the reasons why the first one sucks so much, because it doesn't have any characters. But she's a great one, she's a huge badass, and she is in the top, no doubt. Then we have Sam Carpenter, that's her last name, I think, from the Scream series, Scream 5 and 6. I'm gonna go Survived. I liked her character in the first movie a lot. I liked how she was kind of like, she's on the verge of like snapping and going insane when she's, going ham on these killers. But some stupid decisions in the sixth one is going to keep her out of that next tier for me, just because I feel like some of the things she does in the sixth movie kind of bug me. Then we had Julie James from I Know What You Did Last Summer. She's a solid final girl. I'll go the middle here, but I mean, I just don't love I Know What You Did Last Summer. The characters are all pretty cliche, including her, but we'll go Survive. Just, I don't know why. Honestly, I don't. Then we have Kyle from Child's Play 2, which is one of the most underrated final girls for me. I don't know why she's never talked about on any final girl list ever. Like, as far as final girls from even the Chucky series, no one even thinks about her. I don't know why, because she is such a great final girl with her relationship with Andy and how she helps him take down Chucky. So I'm putting her in badass because I love Kyle. Next up, we have Ziggy Berman, and she was also in my top 10 final girls. She would not even sniff that list now. I have I think I have like 3 or 4 final girls from Fear Street on here. She's the worst one. Just because a lot of the times she's being a giant a-hole and she doesn't have a character redemptive arc that like they kind of try to justify it, but a lot of the times where she's talking to her sister, I'm like, no, I'm siding with Cindy here. Like, Ziggy's being the jerk in this scenario. And so I genuinely, this time around, I just didn't like her character. Like, I thought, like, she genuinely annoyed me. So I'm going to put her in the bottom and should have died. Like, I've never had that happen to me where I love a character the first time around, and then the second time I watched it, I'm like, wow, I hate this character. And genuinely, I felt bad for the sister, because she kind of snaps on her a few times in this movie, and it's just like eventually they're like, I don't remember how they kind of wrap that up with Cindy and Ziggy, where it's like Cindy was kind of wrong, but Ziggy was 100% right, and I think it should have kind of been 50-50, like they were both kind of wrong, like Ziggy shouldn't have snapped on her, and Cindy should have, like, I don't know. I don't like her character this time around. Then we have, what's her name? Jessie? I don't remember her name. From Wrong Turn. I remember this movie a little bit. It's been a while since I've watched it, but I remember her or one of the other girls being very counterproductive to the guy in this scenario, where they were kind of I think it was her who just kept, like, giving them away and making dumb decisions. So I'll go meh for her, but she has some moments that make up for it, but otherwise I didn't really like her. Next up, we have Dana from The Cabin in the Woods, and she is kind of just like the prototypical final girl, and that's by design of the movie. I think it works for the film, but just as a final girl, didn't really care for her, so we're just gonna go meh. Then we have Alexandra Daddario from Texas Chainsaw 3D. I don't know her character name, and I don't care to look it up. I think it's Heather, but if you guys know, Texas Chainsaw 3D is like that one movie that I have a guilty pleasure for. I for some reason, really enjoy this movie, so I'm the scene that everyone thinks about, the
do your thing, cuz.
That for me has always just been like, it makes me laugh every time. So I genuinely don't hate her character, and she is kind of a capable final girl in most of the scenes, so I'm gonna put her right in the middle. I'm sorry, I like Texas Chainsaw 3D. Then we have Sam from Fear Street, Part 1 and 3. For most of Part 3, she's not even really her. She's kind of possessed. But for Part 1, I really liked Sam, and I thought she was a very good character, and we'll talk about Dina here in a second. And I like her relationship with Dina. I like this character. I'm going to stick her. She's not really a badass, so I'm just going to go kind of survived, but I really liked her character. Then we have Dina. And again, with this series, I kind of feel like the main character is the D-bag here. I feel like in a lot of the scenes, Dina is kind of the one snapping at Sam and making her feel bad. And I think in this scenario especially, they're both in the wrong here. Sam is in the wrong and Dina, but the resolve is that Sam was like 100% in the wrong, and I don't like that at all. And Dina was so annoying in almost every scene. I like her relationship with Sam, but otherwise, I genuinely did not like this character. I'm sorry. I love the Fear Street trilogy, but not because of the two final girls at the bottom. I love all of the other side characters. I would have preferred if Sam was the main final girl, and I would have preferred if Cindy was the main final girl of Part 2. I didn't like the main final girl. But I love the Fear Street trilogy, I promise. Next up, we have Alice Johnson from Dream Master and Dream Child in the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. She's a very good final girl, like one of the best parts of 4 and 5 for me, so I'm gonna put her up into badass. I think it's very cheesy how she like collects her friends' powers as they die. I have always hated that about the movies, but that's not a fault on her character, it's a fault on the movies. But I think she's a very good character. Next up, we have Jennifer Aniston from Leprechaun. The only reason she's on this is because I wanted a final girl from Leprechaun. I hate this character, however. She is annoying, and every time she's on screen, it makes me want to cut my ears off, because I genuinely cannot stand this character. Then we have Nika Pierce from Curse of Chucky and Cult of Chucky, and I have not seen the Chucky TV series, so I can't rate what she does in that series. But for the two movies that she gets, she's a pretty good final girl. I'm going to stick her into badass. I mean, for being in a wheelchair especially, she's just as capable as a lot of the characters on this list. Next up, we have Helen Lyle, and you can argue she shouldn't be on this list because she dies in her movie, but I love her. I've always loved her. She's one of my favorites. I'm putting her up in the top. I love Helen. She is super capable. She is doing everything she can, especially when people won't believe her, and I really love her character. Now we have Nancy from the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, and if there was a tier below should have died, oh my god, she would go 2 tiers below should have died, because this is the worst final girl I have ever seen in a movie. Like, genuinely the worst possible final girl. She's horrible. Like, her performance is one of the most lazy and dull things I have ever witnessed in any movie. The actress doesn't seem like she even wants to be there. And she's even said that she doesn't even care about this movie, which is super disrespectful for the Nightmare on Elm Street fans. Why'd you take the role then? But also, I think it would have been a much better movie had she have died. Like, I genuinely think it would improve the movie if she had died, because the other girl in the movie, I think, is 1,000 times more interesting than Nancy. So, if it was a twist and Nancy did die and then we get the other character's perspective, I think that would be a very much, I guess, you can't really redeem the 2010 remake, but it would make it a little bit more enjoyable. Because this character, watching her the entire movies, just made me want to rip my eyes out and stomp on them. Because, God, she is such... I can't stand her character in the slightest bit. Next up, we have Sydney Prescott, who is one of the greatest final girls of all time, and she's going to go up into the top. She's one of the biggest badasses. I mean, between her, Erin, and Ripley for biggest badass, like, it's stiff competition, and she is certainly up there, so she's going to go on the top. Then we have Emerald from Nope, and I thought she was annoying for most of the movie, if I'm being honest, which I think is kind of by design, because she's, like, trying to, distance herself from the ranch, but I just kind of didn't like how she was treating people and her brother, so I'll go meh, but I didn't like her for the first half, I loved her for the second half, so it kind of averages out. Then we have Stretch from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and she would have died had had Leatherface not taken a liking to her. So she's kind of does the same thing as Sally, where it's just she's just running around screaming and just kind of happens to survive. She has a bit more charisma than Sally, but still not going anywhere above meh. Then we have Alice Hardy from Friday the 13th. And as much as I love the first Friday the 13th, as much as I defend it, she's not a very interesting final girl, I'm gonna be honest. She's just kind of basic final girl who happens to take down Pamela Voorhees in the last couple of minutes, but she's alright. Then we have Tara Carpenter, and she was never very interesting to me, honestly. I love Jenna Ortega, but she's just never been interesting to me in either of these Scream movies, so I don't really care. Then we have Cecilia from the Evil Dead, not the Evil Dead, the Invisible Man remake, and she was very good. I'm not gonna say quite badass or top tier, but definitely survived right in the middle there. She's very good. I do really like her character. Then we have Naru from Prey. And she is going to go up into badass, because she is a huge badass in this movie, especially for how, like, she is super... I can't think of the word. The Predator is, like, much stronger than her. Like, she is such a worthy competitor. That's what I was thinking. Worthy. Like, worthy adversary to the Predator. It's just great seeing her. Every time she fights the Predator or just escapes her way out of a situation, it's very good. So I really like her character in this movie, and so she's going to go up into badass. Next up, we have Winnie Carruthers from It's a Wonderful Knife. And I love It's a Wonderful Knife, and I love this character. But as far as the final girl, I mean, she takes down the killer in their first confrontation. So, I mean, it's pretty badass. I mean, for what it's worth, she kills the killer like 3 times. So I genuinely think she is a great final girl, just a little bit uninteresting. And I love her romance, so I mean, she's pretty good. Then we have Tina Shepard, who I just saw on Twitter the other day. Her actress passed away, so rest in peace. You were one of the good parts of Friday the 13th Part 7. I don't love this movie, but this character is one of the good parts. So for that, I'm going to put her in the middle. I think she is one of the most enjoyable parts of the movie, but still not a super interesting character. Then we have Jamie Lloyd from Halloween 4, 5, and 6. And I'm going to put her in the middle here in Survived, just because I love her character in Part 4, then she's a mute in Part 5, and then she gets killed in Part 6. So, she's alright. Then we have Vera Farmiga from Orphan. I think she's very capable. I think she is doing what it takes to defend her children. So, very admirable. I think she's a great character. But we're just going to stick her in the middle there. And that is my completed final girl tier list. This is all 40 of the final girls I selected. And so tell me what you think in the comment section down below. And that's going to be it for today's video. Remember, if you did enjoy, make sure to hit like and subscribe. So I know you want to see more videos like it in the future. Comment down below some more video ideas for me or some of your own opinions on some of these final girls. And until next time, I'm Ethan Horror. This has been Ethan Horror.